Hello everyone, my name is Nicoya, and this is the Roland XV-5050, or at least the innards of one. So, look at the front there. And this has an issue now where when you turn it on and try to play literally anything, it generates the most god-awful amount of static. And it generates that static on the A output, which is also the same as the headphones, the B output, as well as the digital and optical outputs here. So the problem on these is often that we will have some capacitor failure. This is well within the range of, the bad caps days. You'll also often have this 5-volt regulator go bad, which powers all the audio circuits. I have tested this 5-volt regulator. It is making a beautiful, perfectly smooth 5 volts. I've tested this 3.3 volt regulator. It is making a beautiful, perfectly smooth 3.3 volts. The 5 volt for the digital is generated over in the power supply. Also beautiful, no signs of problems anywhere. So the capacitors are good, the regulators are good, all the regulators are good. So that means that we don't have, just the easy, straightforward fix of, replace all the capacitors and everything is good as new. So the next thing to try, which I'm going to do on this video, is I am going to try to see if the other plague of the early 2000s is affecting this board, which is bad solder joints. So the early 2000s, late 90s, probably a little bit, was a transition away from leaded solder to unleaded solder. And, it's great that we get rid of the lead going into the environment when these things hit landfill, but the chemistry and processes for actually making reliable joints weren't necessarily really worked out all that well. And so over time, these joints can fail. There's also a failure mode where they get tin whiskers. I don't think that's a problem with this board. I haven't seen any sign of that. But the ROMs down here, these are what store the waveforms and probably the impulse responses for the filters and stuff like that. They have some joints on them that look kind of bad, and in fact, if we run the diagnostics, it'll actually tell us that these ROMs are no good. It'll also tell us that we don't have these SRX boards installed, which, obviously I don't, I know that. So why don't I hook up the power? I'll show you how to get into self-test mode, and I'll show you, hopefully, the little no good flashing by on the display. All right, so to get into self-test mode, we hold down utility and 4 and then press the power on. And we are in test mode. And you probably can't really see that on screen. It's testing the CPU and ROM. Takes a second. Okay. The DRAM and the EEPROM, these are going to show up as okay as well. Obviously I've done this before. Okay. Wave ROM, no good. And then the expansions are also no good because, again, they're literally not present. So I have done a lot of sleuthing on this. I've tried to see if any of these lines are completely disconnected or anything like that. It doesn't look like it. I'm kind of grasping at straws, but you know what? We're in this together. Let's see if reflowing the pads on these two chips, which are the wave ROMs, is gonna fix our issue. All right, so we're under the microscope here, and what I'd like to point out, and what's making me suspicious, is that the solder on these pads here on the PCB, it looks fully melted and fairly smooth, like it's a little cloudy, but right where the solder meets the pin along this line here, instead of having like a nice fillet leading up to the pin showing really good flow, it kind of looks like they're divoted. And I don't like the looks of that. I've pressed on some of these pins and they don't necessarily visibly wobble around, but on occasion I've seen some of the leftover flux on the opposite side of the pin where I'm pushing kind of cracking, and so that gives me the sense that something's moving here that shouldn't be. And so we are going to try to reflow these. And so I've already been practicing a little bit here. These don't look really factory fresh and magical, but they are significantly more reflowed. And so that's what I'm aiming to do for all of these pins. So I'm going to flux this up and I haven't practiced a lot with trying to look through the camera while I'm doing this, and so I have no idea if this is actually going to work well or not. But I'm going to try at least doing a few pins through the microscope with the camera in the way and see if that works out well. All right, so we are absolutely fluxed up. And I also got myself a new soldering iron, which is pretty cool. And unlike my previous one, it beeps a lot. So let's see, can I get in here and see what I'm doing? Hope so. So we melt the pad, make sure we really get it hot on the lead. Melt the pad, make sure we really get really hot on the lead. And this is really hard to do through the camera, so I'm just going to continue on this way, and I'll meet you back in a minute. All right, I think you'll agree that these solder joints look a lot better now, at least. So whatever problem remains with this board, it's not the solder joints on the wave ROMs. So let's plug this in. And see if we still have that error. And if we do, this video is probably going to be not 3 minutes from the end. So plug it in, and we hold down utility in 4, power it on. Test mode, please wait. So CPU and ROM should still be fine. They're okay. DRAM and EEPROM still should be fine. They are slow. Okay. Wave ROM, no good. Well, that wasn't too great. So, wasn't the solder joints on the wave ROM chips here. So now I got to figure out what else to test. I might as well actually plug this in and give you your ear-splitting introduction to how awful this sounds. Now, it was, what was it, Shift and 4? Yes, demo play. And it should start playing. Yep, I'd say that's not fixed yet. So I'm going to give this a little think, and hopefully by the end of this video, we will figure out what's actually wrong with this. All right, so we are over here at the DSP now, and I just decided, you know, on a lark, I'd go check out the pins on this side. And so I started reflowing these, and it's like, man, these are really melting quickly. It's like I just bump up against one of these pins and it moves around. So, you know, that one's fine, I reflowed that, reflowed that, reflowed that. Didn't reflow that one, did I? And I didn't reflow that one. Yeah, so there are a lot of pins on here that did not get soldered. So I'm going to go ahead and solder these, and maybe that will solve the problem when the pins actually, you know, contact the PCB properly. So let's see if that works. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, take 2. Let's give this another try. So it is, what was it? Utility 4, power. Test mode, please wait. Test mode PCB, CPU and ROM should still be good. Okay, DRAM and EEPROM, this takes a little while. Okay, WROM, okay! And expansions are still no good because I still don't have expansions. So let me hit Shift 4 for the demo play. And I will plug in my speakers. Oh, I'm enjoying this. All right, so if you have a 5050 or probably a 5080 or maybe a 2020, some of these related models, and it is producing nothing but garbage, you know, number 1, check the capacitors. Number 2, check the regulators. Number 3, check for bad solder joints. So I am really glad I managed to fix this thing. I'm glad I got this for cheap. And I'm glad that I now have a perfectly working sound module. So, hope you all enjoyed that video, and I will see you on the next one.